Hello everyone, it's Charlton, and please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell, I'd appreciate it majorly. So wanted to give you a little update on one of the latest development in the two missing kids that went missing in Idaho, JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, who still remain missing, and even with this latest development, their whereabouts are still unknown. But um, basically, and this was pretty significant. I don't know exactly what time. It was daylight hours when they were doing this, and this is in Hawaii, when authorities um, more or less served a search warrant to Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, and actually this reporter who was on scene with federal authorities in eastern Idaho. Law enforcement, which I guess would include Rexburg Police Department as well as Fremont County Sheriff's Office, when they were served a search warrant, pulled over. Their SUV that they were in was searched and then more or less taken into custody, was towed away. And according to this report, and he approached them. He approached Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow and tried to get comment from them because their vehicle was taken. And they basically just walked, I believe, back into this resort that's behind him, Kauai Beach Resort, which is on an island, one of the islands in Hawaii. And if you follow my videos or other people who have been making videos about these two missing kids and Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, they lived on this Hawaii previously, or not. Chad Daybell didn't, but Lori Vallow and Charles Vallow, as well as JJ and Tylee, lived here for a period of time from like late 2014, December 2014, sometime into like August, maybe a little later, 2015. And that's my understanding. And I've talked about, they had 4 different addresses that come up under their names when you search them: 2 for Charles, 2 for Lori, and in a different section than where this resort is. So, but I believe when they were pulled over by authorities and they pulled into the parking lot of this resort and their SUV was searched and then taken into custody, towed away, they just walked into this resort, to a hotel room or a room or one of the condos of this gated resort, as I understand it. But, and I'll play some of that. That where he tries to get comment from the two, and they don't comment at all, except maybe she says just one thing. She says, "That's great," when he explains, because he's pressing them. He says, "Everybody's looking for your kids. Everyone's wondering, are you worried about them? People are praying for them." And she says, "That's great," and they're just sort of standoffish and not saying a word. But on the map, and put myself that's where this resort is, Kauai Beach Resort, and over at Justin Lum over at Fox 10, who's tweeting about this, as well as Adam Herbitz over at Fox, I think it's 13 Salt Lake, and Justin Lem is Fox 10 Phoenix. This is the picture of the resort he posted, and that's Kauai Beach Drive right there, and that's what this is right there. And, I mean, I'll zoom in on it, but the place where Charles Vallow and Lori Vallow had lived previously for a period of time was in Princeville up here, which is an exclusive sort of unincorporated community, high-end investment real estate, and pretty expensive place to live and stay. Where they were pulled over and their SUV was taken was this Kauai Beach Resort. But just to kind of validate that I got the right place, that's Kauai Beach Drive right there, and that's that same body of water that is right here. So that's where they were pulled over today and served a search warrant to search their vehicle, and then it was taken into custody. What exactly they were searching for, we don't know. And there's a point to why I'm going over all this. I'll get to it in a second, but I also want to try to give you a look, and you can look. I'll link it in the description. This individual's report, and you can go watch him, the full the full report and watch him question Lori. And I'll play a portion of it, just so you get a good look at it. But it also says in here that after 30 minutes, a tow truck came and took the SUV. Police then went to Daybell's townhome in Princeville, Hawaii, and executed a search warrant on the property. So, and that's not what's behind him. Okay. So that's a different property altogether where they could have been living, and I don't know if they're just staying here for a few days or what, and if I have no idea, or if they were basically made to leave from that Princeville property, Princeville, Hawaii, and that's where they had to drive to this Kauai Beach Resort, that's at a different part of the island. But that's where they had stayed before, Princeville, Hawaii. And I have no idea what townhome they were staying in. But that's not they. That's where Charles Vallow and Lori Vallow, as well as Tylee and JJ, had lived for a period of time. There's pictures on Tylee's Instagram and Facebook page where she's in Hawaii, swimming and stuff like that. But that's there, and that's where the townhouse is, where they served the search warrant, which again is different from here. And it says that the Daybells have been living inside a gated community in Hawaii for several months, according to law enforcement. Now, I don't know if they mean that's Princeville, which I believe it is. I'm not positive, but that's what I believe when they're referencing. I don't believe they're talking about this Kauai Beach Resort is the gated community. I think that's just a beach resort that they're staying at right now. I think the gated community that they've been living in for several months in Hawaii is in Princeville, but I'm not positive of that. So let me play some of this video, but just stay with me though, because there's more to this story. And I've talked about this. I have. So I'm just going to show you some of him approaching. Again, you can watch more of this. It'll be linked in the description. And this dude, definitely had the scoop on this element of the story. And this is pretty. I mean, people have been wondering where these two are and the whereabouts of JJ and Tylee, who, in my opinion, I continue to believe that they're still alive and they're somewhere, but I don't know that for sure. And I hope I'm right.
Where are your kids? No comment? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say? You're over here in Hawaii? Where are your children? Yeah, why don't you just give us a comment? Just tell us where they are. Chad, where are Lori's kids? What happened to Tammy, Chad? Can you tell us what happened to Tammy? Why have you guys been in Hawaii for so long? Listen, just tell people what's happening. There's people around the country praying for your children, praying for you guys. Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
That's great. That's great that they're praying for you, praying for your kids. What? You have nothing to say? Did you do something to your children? Are your children still alive? That's a simple question. I've got 3 kids of my own. I can tell you every minute where my kids are at. Where are your children? What do you guys plan to do now? You have 5 days to get your children in front of a judge in Rexburg, then what? Are you guys innocent of any crimes? Have you committed any crimes? Chad, you guys have a lot to say on your podcast. You don't have anything to say now? Lori? Do you believe that you were instructed by God or others to do something for your children? If you could give a message to them, what would you say? Listen, if you just talk to us, we'll leave you alone.
Family's worried. Tammy's family's very worried.
Tammy's family's very worried. Lori, your mother, Kay, came out. Kay and Larry, they're offering a $20,000 reward for your children. And you're over here on the beach? This is your chance to tell your story. Nothing you want to say? One last chance right here? Anything you want to say to the people in Idaho? Laura, you have a lot of cash there in your baggie. Were you guys planning to leave Hawaii? Were you planning to take off? And with that, Chad and Lori darted into this resort, and they still have not come out. Now, police searching for in that area.
Okay, so I ended up playing quite a bit of that. She had a little baggie, like some kind of plastic baggie or something with cash in it. I mean, I'm sure they're using cash so that they, because they can't use credit cards or else they'd be located, I think, by law enforcement, I assume. But and I think this is all just that beach resort that I was talking about. That they're staying at here, or at least temporarily, or this is where their SUV pulled into. But the townhouse, according to the article, where that was searched by police. Police then went to the Daybells townhome in Princeville, Hawaii. That's definitely that's up here. And executed a search warrant on the property. So, and like I said, it says down here, they've been living inside a gated community inside in Hawaii for several months. That's obviously multiple months. So it's only January. It has to be December too. I mean, I don't know. I think it was November when they just disappeared, when they basically took off, when the Rexburg Police basically came to them with a search warrant to search their home to do a welfare check on JJ and Tylee, and they abruptly, left the home and then left the state. So I assume they've been there since November, December, January. And he mentioned, Kay Vallow, who's put out a reward for, this information leading to this is their, this is the website they set up for that. Kay Vallow Woodcock and her husband's name. I forget her husband's name. This guy. They gave a press conference and they set up this website for basically a $20,000 reward for information leading directly to the recovery of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. But I also mentioned in a previous video that their one of the recent checkbooks on their check-ins on their Facebook page came up as Princeville, Hawaii on December 22nd, 2019. Now, I'm not absolutely certain of how Facebook works. I assume, they posted that they changed their profile pic here on that day, on December 22nd, 2019. That's why I think the check-in happened. It's because they changed the profile picture. This is 2 days after they put out, 2 days after the Rexburg Police Department issued a missing persons report for JJ and Tylee. So they updated their profile pic. But when they did, it clocked a check-in at Princeville, Hawaii. It's a few days before Christmas, and I was saying in my previous video, they could have been vacationing to there. Or I don't know. I don't even know that they're physically there. I don't know that for an absolute fact, but that's what it says on their Facebook page. Okay, but if they are physically there, they're basically in the same town, where Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow were, for the last several months, which is probably from November to present, November, December, January 2020, and that's Princeville, Hawaii. So, I don't know, that's obviously something, I would think, and frankly, I thought it was something before I knew that before this development, but, I'm just pointing it out to you. So, Chad and Lori Daybell did not have much to say when approached by EastIdahoNews.com, and this is Nate Eaton, and Eric Grossarth, East Idaho News, Sunday afternoon in Hawaii after they were served with 2 search warrants. I think probably the first one is for the vehicle, the other is for the Princeville, Hawaii townhouse. The couple was pulled over by Kauai Police officers around 3:30 p.m. local time as they were driving a black Ford Explorer along Kuhio Highway. They entered the parking lot of Kauai Beach Resort, and police served them with a search warrant for their vehicle. Federal and Eastern Idaho law enforcement officers assisted, and East Idaho News was on the scene as Lori Daybell was put into one police SUV and Chad Daybell waited in another. After 30 minutes, the tow truck came and took the SUV. Police then went to Daybell's townhome in Princeville, Hawaii, and executed a search warrant on the property. The Daybells have been living inside a gated community in Hawaii for several months, according to law enforcement. Lori's children, 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan, have been missing since the end of September 2019. Police say the Daybells refuse to tell them where the children are and have lied to investigators about their location. Police are also investigating the deaths of their former spouses, Charles Vallow for Lori Vallow and Tammy Daybell for Chad Daybell. The Daybells were not arrested Sunday and have not been criminally charged. Police declined to say what they are searching for and if any evidence was found, but Lori Daybell gathered belongings from her vehicle, including a large amount of cash in a plastic bag. East Idaho News approached Chad and Lori in the parking lot of the resort after police finished their on-scene work Sunday. We asked several questions, and Lori only responded to one, and that's what I showed you. So, and that's the extent of what's known in the latest development. What's a huge development. I mean, Adam Herbert said the Rexburg Police Department is choosing not to release any information at this time. From Assistant Chief Gary Hagen via text, we will be doing a case update for all news medias this week. That's all I have at this time. Thanks. And they did say that law enforcement declined to provide any details about Sunday's operation, but Madison County prosecutor is expected to release more information Monday about what's next in this case. I don't know what Madison County is. I guess it's a county in Hawaii, but I looked for it and I didn't see it. So I don't know if that's just a sort of a clerical error or what, and it's a different county that he's talking about. I'm not real sure. But that's the story there, man. That's the extent of it. I gave my theory, sort of a rough theory on what I thought maybe was going on in my most recent video, and I mean, it was a sort of far-fetching theory, but I don't know if it's so far-fetched, and but I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I continue to think that the kids are alive. I do. I feel pretty strongly about that, and that they're somewhere. Obviously they're somewhere safe, but I don't know. We'll see. Eventually, I would think, we'll get some answers. I would think they're getting some legal advice, some pretty serious legal advice. I mean, this is pretty hairy, That's the story there, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.